ability of writing without mistake.
To use digital things.
Maybe stand or maybe.
And speaking fluently without mistakes. Such kind.
Speaking fluently, okay.
Using language without mistakes.
Using language without mistakes. Grammaticus.
In Russian.
Grammatness.
In Russia,
Okay.
let's say
All right. It may not be the best answer, but I think it is your knowledge about a specific subject.
Yes.
That's just my opinion. It's not right or wrong. So by a raise of hands, and I'll be honest, I have not heard this term before. By a raise of hands, yes, I have. No, I haven't. Has anyone here heard of assessment literacy?
we have literacy, but I haven't heard assessment literacy.
Have you heard about assessment literacy? Jesse, you heard?
So by the end of this presentation, which will be about 15 minutes, we'll hopefully know more about what this means. Okay? So assessment literate teachers, if I wrote it on the board, what do you think assessment literate teachers are able to do? So assessment literate teachers are able to. I'm going to ask you to turn to a partner and finish the sentence. Okay? So you're going to turn to a partner, you're going to buddy up, and you're going to try to think, well, hey, first if we were going to do like a think, pair, share, what are they able to do? Let's think for a moment. If you don't know, it's fine, but what do you think that they're able? All right, well, I'll say it like this. An assessment literate, do you want me to just tell you what it is? Literacy is what? It's your knowledge about language, right? If you're able to do language, you can do different tasks, right? You can write an essay, you can write a poem. If you're able to be assessment literate, it means that you know about different, not just language, different assessments, and you're able to use them in different ways. Does that make sense about what assessment literate is?
Yes.
Just the same way I see someone using a phone, she's phone literate, right? Someone listening to music, they're music literate. Literature is not literature, it's actually different.
Yes.
It's your ability
Yes.
to use that knowledge. Literacy, ability to use. So the knowledge you're starting, and you already have a lot of it, is about assessment. So I would love for you and partners to finish this beginning sentence. An assessment literate teacher, or assessment literate teachers are able to, you're going to finish it. Okay? So buddy up. Tell a buddy. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Tell a buddy. Try to finish the sentence. All right, I see a person done. All right, please. Oh. Can you go out of 40? She's just always chosen. Fill the sentence for us. Let's hear.
Assessment literate teachers are able to control the students' speaking, listening, and concentrating skills also.
Okay. 51, Nargiza.
This one. Yes. So also assessment helps to teachers to evaluate students with different techniques, methods,
Okay.
and assessment literate teachers will be able to know the learner's needs and
Okay. 32, Gulbahar?
Assessment literate teachers are able to check learners' creativity,
Huh?
creativity and responsibility and gaining knowledge.
Okay. You got something here, go ahead.
Okay. Assessment literate teachers are able to use different ways of assessment.
Good. What I'm doing right now is a form of assessment, by the way. Right? I have a sentence starter. People are filling them in with their ideas. Yeah.
Assessment literate teachers are able to assess students in an effective way, and they know how to assess and what to assess and when to assess.
That's part of the assessment. How, when, why. Yeah, very nice. Oydin, is she back? No. She's gone again. Okay. Hussein, 34. It's going to be tough. Isn't it? All I've seen is his back the whole time. But go ahead.
I don't have any idea.
I know. All I've seen is the back of your head. So maybe you can listen to one other person share and I come back to you. Okay? But listen to what they're saying. Right? Because there's no way you can listen like this. Durdona 44. Go ahead.
So assessment literate teachers are able to use different kind of assessments according to his or her students' learning styles, intelligence, and acquiring the knowledges.
Okay. Savara, 2. Savara, there.
In addition to the above mentioned ideas, a teacher who is assessing should be expert on this area and be able to solve the problems, foresee what may be problem in the assessing process, and be ready to give clear and perfect feedback to them.
I like that, seeing the problems. Let's come back to Hussein. Didn't forget about you. So knowing how to change your assessment based on the situation. More? You want more? Kalola 27. Kalola 27.
For me, assessment literature teachers are able to choose the, how can we say, the tests are
Correct assessment.
yes, correct. This is type of assessment according to the learner's styles.
Yeah. Different types of assessments, different moments, different styles. Okay.
Assessment literate teachers are able to analyze their students' weak points.
Okay.
And, to organize and helps to organize their future plan.
Yeah. I want to add to what you're saying. Assessment is part of teaching. We know that. But it's like, you teach something and then you assess it. You teach it and you assess it. You teach it and you assess it, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of teaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's part of the whole, we know that.
And it's
But
challenging part because while doing activities, most of pupils, they do their best, but when they give you some kind of assessment, most of them lost good points. I don't know why really.
so you mean they
It's
get it with
challenging
like...
part for me, for example,
Mm.
as a teacher, because while during the lesson, while doing highly controlled practice, moderately controlled practice, and sometimes free practice, they do their best.
Right.
But when I give them some kind of assessment like a mini test or fill in the gaps or true false,
Yeah.
they do a lot of mistakes.
Interesting. It could also, I just want to add to your point, maybe the activities are helping them, but when they come to the form of expressing their ideas in those examples you gave, because that's a different way of showing learning, do you see what I mean?
Maybe
They should
it's
make it
practice.
stress it.
Can I explain this?
Under
Sure.
pressure.
You have an idea.
Practice.
It's a good point though.
So do I. I'm also like this.
Mm.
For example, I just concentrate on the topic, I just learn phrases, phrasal verbs, and when is the assessment is coming, I just get under pressure and I lose my concentration. And I can forget everything, what I remember. It's like a psychological attack, I don't know. But you just forget at the moment.
Yeah, I know. Part of that, and maybe it's connected, active versus passive memory.
Yes.
So it's possible they can see the word and they know what it is. But if you ask them to produce it, that's active memory. So I just want to make that a good point. Active memory, at any moment you can bring it out. Passive, it's there, but not 100%.
Yes, when they read, they can translate. But when you ask to create something, they cannot use this word.
Yeah. But that's
themselves.
Passive production.
They can't use in oral speech.
yeah. So that's an interesting
Yeah.
point. So it's possible we're getting the information in there, but it's not like active. But it's not wrong. It's, I mean, yeah. Go ahead. You wanna say something?
We usually use it to follow our students after grammar structures because authorities and we also at the end of the term try to check by their multiple choice grammar tests. If you concentrate the assessment or focus on language usage, the case will be a bit different.
You know, we work in specialized school and we use different types of assessments. We use assessments like Gateway have their own system of
Yeah, the
assessments.
online system,
Yes, we
whatever it
use
Module
listening,
tests.
reading, grammar, lexical
Yeah.
parts. So it's not only tests. But for example, it's important for me to connect exercises to assessment because while doing exercises, they do their best, and while doing assessment, they make a lot of mistakes. Yes,
Maybe
and
it's
it's a
possible
problem
in your
for me
case,
because
but
they
you
lose
have just
themselves.
45 minutes to check the material. Maybe you have enough time. We can't check our all integrated skills during 45 minutes.
Of
It's
course,
impossible
it's
for
not
us.
with all the students. For example, if I have 15 students, 15 pupils in a group, 5 or 7 of them are always smart, are always good, their best, did their best, but about 6 or 5, they do best during the activities, and they make a lot of mistakes during the
Like
assessment.
how she was just saying about herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's very difficult to assess them because we have a system according to which we should grade them.
yeah.
And sometimes when you open your register, it's like 5553, 5553.
Because
They're the
It's
same.
difficult
It's
sometimes.
hard to give one number to one person. I think she wants to say something. And then we
Before
come to you.
assessment, teachers should work with her students
Because-
with assessment in order to scaffold them. For example, I use this method a lot, and for example, today it's seen some and you know, and I'll explain that structure, and I say them, this will be your assessment, and please take notes. And while assessment, I'll change only words, but I'll not change the structure, and I don't agree with curriculum that government give us. There is control work, then project. We should work mistakes after assessment. It's not very effective. Before assessment, we should give them some explanation, instruction, whatever we have. But
You can
after
change it.
assessment,
Yes.
it's not so useful.
I think.
change it.
You can
I
change
change
it.
I mean, project and control work, and you change it.
It's a very
So at one point I just want to say, this is a really interesting discussion, is that it's probably not fair to teach a lot and then assess one time. Right? This is what I'm hearing. So if possible, we should have more forms, Teresa, of assessment throughout. This is what I'm hearing. You want to say something, and then we come to Sandine. But this is very important, right? Go ahead. Yeah, Sandine. What do you think?
Assessment is very helpful for both teacher and pupil. For example, when we teach some scene, after assessment we know how they learn the scene, which part is difficult for them, or they can also know their knowledge by doing assessment, doing some exams.
Yeah.
And I think it is motivation for some people because they want to get good assessment, good higher mark in the assessment, and that's why they try to get high mark and they work a lot on your own.
They're more interested. What I would add to what he was just saying is, do you think assessing 1 or 2 times is enough?
No.
You may need to do multiple times in different ways. Right? Because you were saying they get motivated by grades. I'm sure that does motivate some. But what if I want to have a good grade, but I'm not getting it, you know?
For example, you are, in 1 week, 3 assessment, checking, yeah?
Yeah, checking is the point.
Yes, it's a lot.
But I would say, if we did these assessments 1 month later, right? So right? So think about your students. She's saying, oh, they did so well during the activity, but I gave them an assessment after what, 5 lessons, 5 units?
Yes.
It all went.
After 6 lessons.
After 6 lessons, it's all gone. What does that mean? It's not her fault. What does that mean?
Temporary memory.
It's probably passive, temporary. They need some more review. Right?
More assessment looks like a line graph. Teacher can illustrate the fluctuation of the student's knowledge, if there is upwards or downwards in the learning.
Yeah. I know you want to say something and you want to say something, and you're right. It's up and down. So if they're forgetting stuff, if it's they're forgetting stuff, they need more review time. And I know you only have 45 minutes. It's impossible. We know these situations. Maybe a quick way, I'm just throwing an idea at you, is you have 5 or 6 units. You have 6 stations. The last 10 minutes of class, I'm going to do, you do this, you do this, you do this. Do you see what I mean?
So I'm going to assess in another way when I'm back.
Maybe. Because you can't think about this. She told me, I remember all this. Arba was saying this too. In 2 months, what will stick from what we've done here? Very little, because we don't have practice. It's the same for your students. They have no practice. You know what I mean? We give them information, and then we go to the next information.
Yes.
You're like a train. You don't wait.
Such kind of things. The activities are not connected with the topic or with each other.
Yes, sometimes it depends on the time, yes. In one lesson we should cover all the information and we should move on.
It's impossible.
Yes.
Another day we should teach them another thing.
I got it. All I'm saying is, if you could create a routine around review, it would be helpful. One, Malika, I think, no wait, not Malika. I'm trying. Malika, right? Yes. And then Kamal, and then we go to a presentation. I hope that this was a fruitful conversation. It's nice to hear.
Briefly, we can say that assessment shows our like the teacher's work's result. You can say like this.
And the students' result.
Yeah.
And that's why it's
How we teach them and what they learned. Like this.
Okay, so it's the result of student teacher. All right, but don't hate yourself that it's frustrating. It's a frustrating process. Just be aware. From all us and say, and then I'm going to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Assessment literate teachers will be able, I am going to come back to the sentence. So I think that
Kamal, they're not listening to you.
Yes.
You should not speak if they're not listening, right? Because there's no point. I mean, it's good for me to hear, but if they don't hear.
I think that teachers should organize pre-assessment activities, pre-assessment, while assessment, and assessment little teachers know what to do in pre, while, and post-assessment. So it means that before organizing some kind of assessment, he or she should give scaffolding what will be assessed next. And of course, and while assessing pupils, of course, teachers' role should monitor and observe them, and from there, what students is a little bit having a difficult task, maybe to do, it's difficult for them, and post-assessment makes some kind of scale. and list of students and progress, who is line, like a competition, race.
Yeah, that's got it.
It's scale, it's also one of the motivation during the semester or maybe term, and summative assessment.
So he just said creating a list of names and having people kind of see where they are as they develop over time was an idea. Okay. Can I jump to this? Is that okay? So we're going to discuss it. I would encourage you to take some notes on whatever comes up during the discussion. It's really hard to take notes on your phone. I know you're the timekeeper. You're checking the time, right? I'm messing with you. All right, so can I use this?
Yes.
Yeah.
My voice is like, it's kind of hard to talk so much. All right. So, being literate in an assessment means you're able to ask and answer critical questions about the purpose. I know that Malika was saying before. About the appropriateness, right? Meaning, are we doing the right kind of assessment of the tool being used? Because there's different tools of assessment. And about what is going to happen as a result. So what are you going to see after? Is it an exam? Is it a poster? Is it thumbs up, thumbs down? What do you see? What is produced? What else? Simply put, it's the know-how and understanding needed to assess students effectively and maximize learning. And like Alola was saying, our students are not the same, right? So I would add that what they can produce is different, right? Like their ability on an assessment. One student can produce 5 sentences, one can produce 1. Is that a problem? I don't think so. Right? So it's not about, do you see my point?
Yes, there are different learning styles, different intelligence.
Different abilities mean different students can produce different things.
Multiple intelligence.
That's not a problem. But as a teacher, you need to ask yourself, I understand you have one test and it's one size fits all and this, but can I maybe ask this student to do something a little different so that they can succeed? Do you see my point?
Yes.
May be helpful. So I would add that as a note. How can I adjust my assessment based on my students' diverse needs? Right? Because the needs of the students is important in assessment. How can I adjust my assessment based on my students' needs? Right? Student needs will change how I can assess, what I can assess, what they can produce. Student needs is important in thinking about assessment.
But for example, we have, how can I say, our last point is that they should enter to the university and they have only one type of exam.
One exam.
It means that we should prepare them for such kind of exam, yes?
Totally.
It means that this is contrasting the ideas of different learning styles and different intelligences.
Yeah.
But
I think people show their learning in different ways, but the reality is there's one test.
yes.
One problem is
Yeah.
our just learning style is based on our textbook. What is in the textbook and we can teach, but not based on our program, our
but
syllabus.
I would say to your point is you could take any topic from your textbook and you can make it into a creative, interactive assessment. Do you see my point?
Yes.
We're going to go through them, but let's just keep going. Thank you for pushing back. You should never say yes to anything. That's my mentality. All right. So what should you be skilled in? Choosing and developing assessments related to your class. So that means it's not given to you, right? You need to create it. That's why the assessment of this class is creating assessments. Administering and scoring and interpreting. Interpreting means how do you take what's given to you as like data or information, and how do you understand what they understand? What else? Using the results when making decisions about students' planning and curriculum development. I understand, you said like the curriculum is like a train. 5 minutes per station.
Yes.
And next station. Next station. But you could maybe reference some parts of what you taught before. Does anyone here know what an anchor chart is? Anchor chart? Can I show you a picture? Yes. So, it's just an example. An anchor chart, I don't know if you're allowed to have things on the walls. I've seen things on the walls here. Is, for instance, on your topic, you could have a poster related to that topic. And I know it's just on the wall and you're going forward, but you could potentially try to review it at certain moments. So you could have anchor charts around the... What is an anchor? What's an anchor?
One makes stop the ship.
Yeah. So an anchor on a boat is... I misspelled it, but I know how to spell it. It is this. Gapta? What is it? Gapta? Yagoy. Yagoy. Okay, so an anchor chart is something you could make. And it's a way of remembering, and it helps you stay on the ground, right? Stay on the topic, not go everywhere. So you could create these throughout your lessons as materials that you can come back to. Do you see how this is different? Making something like this is different than just open up your book to page 15. Do you see how that's different? 15, I look at it, I'm like, there's so much information there. So, this is not related to assessment, but this is just an idea for you. I'm just sharing the idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like in the US, like I'll show you a video in a second of like examples of assessment. It's very common to have supportive material. In Uzbekistan, do you also do this? I don't know.
Our administrators don't like when we stick some kind of papers, posters in our classroom. It's a problem.
So you can do like this. You can have a pile and you keep it for yourself. But you see my point, right?
Yes, yes.
It's not garbage.
We shouldn't throw it.
What's that?
We shouldn't throw, we should keep it.
Use it. I swear there's so many things in Uzbek or Russian, however many times I hear it, I forget. I'm an adult. But like you were saying, when you're under pressure, nothing is there. Right? It's like empty. So the students probably feel the same. So, not that. Okay. Grading procedures. What else is, am I in the right area? I think I am. Communicating assessment results to students and others. Oh, this is the point about ethical. Unethical or illegal or inappropriate assessments and uses of assessment information. It just means when you give grades, you shouldn't make it people feel bad about themselves. Right?
Yeah.
By sharing the whole grade to the whole class. Yeah. I realized that we didn't really go over this chart, so I'm going to go through that in a moment. Let's keep rolling here. So, what are, this is exactly what Malika was saying before. What are assessment literature teachers? They know how to do? They know how to do what?
They are assessing.
Can we read it together? Because this is so annoying, this thing. What they're assessing. What they're doing, so. Tools they're doing. How to provide appropriate feedback. How to prevent problems. Okay. So it's a little bit like a buffet, right? What does buffet mean?
Yeah.
You can pick up a lot of
As you
dishes,
want.
a lot of choice.
A lot of choices. So you may want to like highlight those key things: the what, the why,
How?
the how, and the tools. Yeah. And things always go wrong. It's part of the process, right? You're working with people. People go up and down. Like what? I wish I could remember. Help me, her name. You talked about the circle. Okay. I'm embarrassed. I don't know. No, it wasn't a Sandine. It was someone else. It's fine. All right, we're almost there. Assessment practices help you make good or poor decisions, right?
Yeah.
So like Lola was saying, if you're doing it all the time one way, and you're saying that it's not working, maybe you need more different forms of assessment before you go to the next station.
But you have no time.
You have no time. It's true.
Yes, of course, we should make the activities into the tasks also, and how we find the time.
There's very little time. Does anyone have any ideas?
Yes, we should add another day to practice.
One thing, one problem.
Yeah.
Problem is while assessing the students, and for example, grade 11, they are eager to plagiarize someone else's work. This is a problem too.
They copy each other's work.
You just monitor them. You try to monitor them, but anyways, I just take away their mobile phones. But anyways, they plagiarize in some kind of way. I don't know. They are so talented. Even my monitoring process cannot help them.
Yeah.
This is the point.
They're probably copying from each other. It could be, you can say, they're not interested, they're lazy, but it's possible because they don't have the skills.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
The reason they're doing that is that's their scaffold.
Yes.
Right?
It's our fault anyway.
I don't know if it's your fault, our
It's
fault.
hard to assess them in this case.
It's hard because you do the same assessment 7 times.
Yes. It's
Right?
very boring for them.
People are laughing. I know how you feel. Don't. But it's a good point. So let's keep going. It probably means they need more practice. We're almost there.
Next page?
I think so.
Yes.
How are your assessment literacy skills? So show me in your hand. We'll do like the finger. Do you feel that you're at a 1? Like you don't have a lot of assessment literacy? Do you feel that you have a 2 a little bit, 3 some, 4? Do you feel like in different situations you can choose the right type? So everyone raise your hand wherever you are, whatever it is. And let's look around the room. I'm seeing some 3s, some 2s, some 3s, 2s. Okay. What kind of assessment did I just do?
Finger check.
Finger check. What form of assessment is it?
Informal.
Informal, but also self-assessment.
Self-assessment, yes.
So, an example for Halila's idea. She's like, they're not getting it. Can you write 3 sentences about assessment? Or assessment literacy. You'd say, yes, I'm able, or, I can write very little, or I can write a lot, and then you could ask students to write those 3 sentences. You see how that's like a quick assessment? That's not 5 hours, that's 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes, I do that.
So,
Because they plagiarize every time, and I just call these students to the board, and I just check their quick check.
Sure. Quick check, yeah.
Have you worked at secondary schools?
Yeah.
How do you solve this plagiarism? Because this is not only in Uzbekistan, but I think
not.
all over the world. How
Yeah.
do you solve this problem?
If you get work that's plagiarized, you give it back to them, or you fail the students. But my understanding is, are you allowed to even fail students here?
Sometimes yes.
The majority of times, no.
Sometimes they
Not at
they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
us to
But
follow
I-
our-
At university, yes.
Okay, but I would just say, like in the U.S., when I had that happen, I would give the work back and I would show them that it was plagiarized. And I mean, you would fail a class, like, or that assignment.
Plagiarism in US is very bad.
What?
Like plagiarism in the US is very
Yes.
bad thing. Will not accept it.
It's not accepted. So you have to ask yourself, is plagiarism just a problem of the students, or is it something, like you're saying, that's it's in society?
It's global.
Yeah.
Global, but anyways, the teachers can control either. For example, we have one strict teacher that just, anyways, we just plagiarize or not, just call us and just please explain this terminology.
Yes.
And we have to just describe what is it. And by this way, she can understand whether we understand or not,
Yeah.
or we did it, or we just plagiarized it.
I mean,
Dependent explanation of teacher.
May I?
yeah, how you
Depends on
expect.
teachers as well.
Sure.
May I?
Shahano's got something. She's excited.
I think it is a global problem because it is depends on only one society, or it depends on one society's behavior. Maybe there is no such kind of plagiarism checking system, for example.
Yes, we have. We have.
No.
There is a program. They can, if you plagiarize, they just copy and paste, and
Yes.
it will show where
Such
we
kind
get
of
it and
such
what is
kind
the
of program
resources.
is working among the world.
We have.
Can I add
But we
something?
don't take it serious, you know?
Yeah.
We don't use it at school. Maybe at the universities they use. Maybe in international tests they use. But at school we don't use such kind of program.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is our expectations, and I think like we could. Yeah, we're almost there, Rustam. I agree. But if you're expecting students to do something, then maybe they're more likely to do it. If you tell them clearly, I will not take work that looks the same, you'll have to try again. I think expectations could help.
What about time? Deadline, I mean.
There is another reason.
Yeah, deadline is
Sometimes,
important.
the result is depends. The result of the assessment results to the teachers' work. That's why sometimes teachers allow to copy to each other because they don't want their pupils to have bad marks. Yeah.
Sure,
At the end of the
because
year.
it looks bad on the teacher.
Yeah, and especially in we have monitoring tests when they mark our teachers' work, not pupils.
Just cover ourselves
Yeah.
somehow.
No, it makes sense because the students are being assessed and you're assessed based on the students.
Yes.
And it sounds like a very intense,
Interconnected.
yeah. So if the students don't do well, you're like, oh, I'm not good. I'm going to keep rolling with this, but this is a very interesting discussion.
And what about video? How is that video?
I think it's
I'll just finish one slide and your video is coming, I promise.
I have one question.
Sure. What is it?
In your country, classes are given different ways. Like, for example, in our country, every year different classes will be given for us, and we should need time to adapt them. What about you?
You mean you're told you're going to teach this subject and you do that subject. Usually you do the same subject every year.
You have got the same classes every year.
Yeah. Which is really good because you can, recycle what you've done. Yeah. All right, so we could focus for the next 20 years on plagiarism and have a headache, right? Because we know it's something that happens. Okay? But what we should be focusing on are assessments. And one of the reasons that maybe plagiarism is easy is we're only doing certain types of assessments, right? Maybe. I'm going to just go through this and show a video, but you want to say, I'm just going to, so what are some barriers to being assessment literate? Is lack of training, confidence, time, we're all talking about that, and resources. So I'm going to try not to focus on the plagiarism topic, but I'm going to say it is a serious topic. Like in the US, you can get kicked out of school.
It's about teachers.
Yeah. But now I'm going to show a video. Is that okay?
Yes.
And I want you to tell me what types of assessment you see in the video.
Okay.
We're almost there. It is not long. All right. So, what am I asking you to do? What are the different examples of assessment that you saw? Try to name them. Try to number them. Yes, ma'am.
We've been talking about drawing conclusions. Now, show